Okay.
Oneness family, this is Shophar from Show Energy Work and Show Health. And today, I'm talking to you today with a very, very special guest today by the name of Wayne Chandler, who is the author of Ancient Future and also an advanced Qigong practitioner. Brother Wayne, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Very well.
Good. Well, it's good to see you. For the first time, so Wayne and me, for those of you familiar with my channel and stuff, we've done some interviews. We did 2 back in the day, some years ago now, but this is actually the first time we're getting a chance to see each other, so it's pretty cool.
Definitely.
Very cool. And for you family out there through time and space, thank you for coming through. And our topic today is going to be about Yuan Qi, or source Qi. So as you know, if you've watched other interviews that I've done with deep breaths, we usually start off with a little bit of Qigong just to open up some channels so that we can receive the wisdom, so that we can really hear. Those of you who've come in before too, you know that I love to say that if you look at the word heart, it has the word hear in it. So it's one thing to listen, but another thing to actually hear someone is to feel them. So we're going to open up some channels so that as the brother is dropping the wisdom and sharing different things that he has to share with us, we'll actually be able to feel that wisdom in the body. So I invite you through time and space and try to listen to this when you have some time to slow down so that you can actually do the practices. We're going to do interview, and we're going to take some times when the brother says something that I feel like we should really take a moment to hear. We're going to drop into our bodies and feel what it is that he just said. And then we're going to end out everything today with a little bit of Qigong. All right, so I invite you to look how I'm looking right now at the screen, or look somewhere in front of you. And let's breathe in. And on your out breath, slowly close your eyes. Imagining the sun setting. The sun doesn't just turn off. It slowly goes down. We're going to activate the kidney 1 points in our feet so that we are very grounded in our conversation here today. Just going to do a few breaths just to bring awareness to the bottoms of our feet. Kidney 1, the bubbling spring. Breathe in, focusing on the bottom of the feet. Breathe out. If you have any noise in the background, imagine those sounds rippling through your body. Breathe in. Let the sounds take you deeper into your body. And breathe out. Good. Breathe in. Out. Yang Twin, the bubbling spring. See if you can feel the energy bubbling into your feet. Breathe in. It literally is coming up through Mother Heart, Mother Earth, Mother Heart, up into our bodies. Out. Relax your body. See if you have any places of tension. Let's do 3 more. Breathe in. Check the usual suspects, the shoulders, the jaw, the abdomen, the anus. Out. Last 2. In. Out. Good. Last one. In. And out. And just taking a moment to feel the difference in your body. I often tell people, how do you know Qigong is working? One easy way, do you feel something? That means you probably have more oxygen on your blood cells. Number two, do you feel better than when you started? Simple. Let's breathe in. And with the out breath, slowly allow your eyes to reopen, to come up. All right, so what we did there is we did something to focus, to open up our kidney channel, and we're going to be talking more about the kidneys today as we talk about Yuan Qi or Source Qi. So since we have an expert here about Yuan Qi and about what this is, I would like to ask you, Wayne, for our first question here today, what is, first to give a little bit of background because everybody won't even know what Qi is, so if you can explain a little bit about your understanding or understanding or overstanding about what Qi is, and then what Yuan Qi is.
Yeah, it's the Qi is that which gives life, literally. You know, it's what infuses life into all sentient beings and organic, particulates that are designed by nature and universal, cosmology. Um, Without Qi, there is no uh, activation. There is no life in whatever it is that we're, in this case, we're talking about human beings. So to remove the Qi or the life essence, you're talking about turning something that is actively proactive into a corpse. You know, um, so Qi within itself is that which gives life. Qigong is taking that energy and actually putting it to work in the human body so that the body mind derives shifts, changes, and levels of varied expansion from the different practices that one does with Qi Gong. And that is in itself, quite the experience because, Qigong in its essence is designed to move a human being out of three-dimensional incarcerated, situation back into 4D. So the thing with Qigong is that one needs and wants to really create the understanding that we're not three-dimensional entities. We're fourth-dimensional entities and have been acted upon by different changes in the various socio-cultural programs that humanity has undergone, one being the alteration of the calendar, which the Kemetic, Ethiopian, Mayan calendar was set up in a totally different format. It had 13 months and 28 days in every month. And with that, the way it was set up was that it allowed human beings to like really integrate and access the intuitive, clairvoyant, and just psychic powers of lunar energy. And so we never had to stop and really ponder about where we were with respect to the order within time. We always knew where we were just based on how the calendar functioned and was designed. So that calendar, that calendrical system created more of a spherical reality for humanity. When the Julian calendar was introduced, it was a very linear framework which really pulled humanity, the consciousness out of humanity into a more linear thread of how it operated. And so the dynamic of being in 4D lessened more and more over time until the three-dimensional construct of linear reality completely and totally took hold. And in doing that, we became pretty much subject to that. There's a translation, as a matter of fact, I have it right here. A translation that comes out of the Mayan culture, and it's called the Dream Spell Codex. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to read just these last couple of paragraphs, and it says, the absorption of the 13 by the 12 was called an improvement by the male imposter priest, hypnotized by the combined powers of Jupiter and Saturn. While the 12 diminished the power of 13 by 1, the 60 raised the power of 20 by 3. A seemingly increase in power occurred, but it was an increase only on the flat or of the third dimensional plane of three-dimensional time, of which the human race was now entrapped. With the banishment of the 13 moons or months, fourth dimensional time magic became the property of the priest class, setting up religions, governments to maintain humanity within the third dimension. The priests were assured that anyone having fourth dimensional experiences either be appropriated or destroyed. So you get this clarity about the depth and our integration into the nature of fourth dimensional reality of which we are. That's why we're designed in the way we're designed, with the different meridians that run through the body, the chakra points that operate through the portals of the body, the endocrine system, and its relationship with the chakras in the body. So all of that is representative and reflective of a fourth dimensional construct of which we are. And so Qigong in its design is to move us out of 3D and back into our original fourth dimensional imprint.
Woo! Woo! Deep breath, y'all. Let's breathe in. Remembering the feet. Out. Do one more. Breathing in. Focusing, even if you have your eyes open, the bottom of your feet. And out. Wow. Yeah, we can't just, so we have to go delve a little deeper into what Brother Wayne was just saying there, because in its, Qigong being one that it performs a function and it helps do some type of work. In other words, there's a flow to it. That flow brings life. So if it's Qi, then there's motion, there's movement. And when you do the work, the Qi work, the breath work, the Qigong work, you are doing something to raise your consciousness, to go from a third dimension consciousness or awareness to a fourth dimensional one. And that is the purpose of Qigong. That's really powerful. So that makes me, I was talking to Wayne a little bit before we got on here. I was like, because by the way, and I want to do this here. So he's also the author of a book by the name of Ancient Future. And that book was one of those books for me that helped set my consciousness free. I was going through a time, this was in the late 90s, when I found that book actually through a friend who introduced it to me through, at a time, a network marketing company by the name of Mata. There was a brother named Ken Bridges. Shout out to the brother. Rest in peace, or rest in power, rise in power to that brother. That's a whole nother story about the brother Ken Bridges. But he had the book as part of his Mata network. And at the time, I was going through a thing where I had broke free from the grasp of religion. And then, the hellfire, you start feeling the hellfire and guilt and shame or those things, and start going back to religion sometimes. And that happens with some of us. And I was, going back to Bible study class and everything, after having expanded a little bit beyond that, but then fell back into it. And a friend of mine gave me the book Ancient Future. And as I started reading through that book, y'all, the way that Brother Wayne put it together, and the way that he showed these ancient principles with the idea of taking our third dimension consciousness and being rooted in consciousness that was beyond third dimensional, in order so that we could presently grow beyond third dimensional consciousness. Ancient Future. And so it was such a powerful book. It was very impactful, and it was actually the fuel that I needed to help get my consciousness to get out of that religious mindset. And I've never looked back since. So I wanted to let you know that again, Brother Wayne. I appreciate you very much.
Respect, my brother, respect.
Yeah, definitely, man. And but this brother does Qigong, and he wrote this book, Ancient Future. So with you saying that this was a book to help us get our consciousness, that Qigong, breath work, is something that help us raise our consciousness from third to fourth dimensional. How does that tie into the concept of the universe being mental?
Yeah, because the universe basically is a projection of intention. So when the axiom says the all is mind and the universe is mental, what that says, which is now being substantiated by quantum physics, is that the universe as we know it and define it now is a hologram. And being a hologram, like Elaine Aspect and David Bohm brought that into manifestation back in the 80s, by doing various experiments with electrons, protons, to show that the intelligence lied outside of a particular construct, and that each individual part had its own method and means of operating. And so, like, one of the examples that I give in Ancient Future is, matter of fact, took place here where I live in Cleveland, Ohio, with an individual, a physicist, who at that time quantum physics had not been really embraced. So we were looking at just the possibility of a new form of physics that had yet to be birthed. And so this individual, this physicist, was experimenting with electrons and basically using a fission chamber, and was doing his research showing the intelligence, of the electron by reformatting the back wall and actually having a hole shooting the electron towards that right side of the back wall, and the electron goes through with no issue, no problem. But then he changes the back wall, puts the hole on the other side, but he shoots the electron in the same direction as he did prior. And the electron goes, gets to the back wall, stops, then shifts direction and goes up and through the hole that is now on the left side. So you're looking at intelligence in operation, so the whole dynamic, it's the level of profundity, is just awe inspiring. And for practitioners, who really step in and begin to utilize the practices, Qigong is born out of Tao. And people say, well, what is Tao? And Tao is the way. Well, what is the way? What do you mean it's the way? It's the way of universal order, which means that it encompasses and contains all things. So through the practice of Qigong, a good teacher, good practitioner is going to give you all of the different aspects of Qigong, how to manifest what you need in your reality, through the activation of very specific, meridians or areas, aspects, of the consciousness of mind. So for example, one of the things that I've been doing a lot of work with of late, is like really looking at the reticular activating system, because the reticular activating system is what basically imparts our specific realities that we live out on the daily. And a lot of that is just absorbed from an environment that's very toxic. So a lot of what we live and what we bring to the table resonates that level of toxicity and needs to shift to a higher frequency. So Qigong is the mechanism that allows that process to take place, through manipulating and shifting the reticular activating system. And the thing that's deep, because about the reticular activating system is that, say you're an individual who you feel that you don't deserve, you feel less than, you feel impoverished. The reticular activating system, literally, as you move through your day, it goes out and attracts those very things in your thought process to reinforce that belief. If you feel you're unloved, if you feel you are not a person who is liked, the reticular activating system literally moves out and through the environment to find, authenticity of that particular belief and brings that right back into your beingness.
Wow. Wow. So it sounds like from what you're saying, Wayne, that the reticular activation system has some type of, or some sort of connection, I would say, to source chi. So this is our perfect segue into it, because its ability to, if you think of source chi as being undifferentiated, kind of like a stem cell, it hasn't been told what to do yet. It has all possibilities, infinite possibilities.
Exactly.
So how does that tie into what you're saying with the reticular activation system?
Yeah, I mean, once you begin to focus and have an awareness of a more expansive reality, the more you do that, the more you encode your reticular activating system with these new principles and ways of being. So then, as you move through your day, the reticular activating system literally goes out into the world and begins to magnetize those specific things to your beingness that are all about expansion and higher levels of development and refinement.
Wow. Wow. And I feel like this is a perfect point to remind, people, or for some of us to look at it different. The word magnetic has the word magic in it, So what Wayne is telling us is indeed a form of magic. I saw this sign one time. It was kind of like a tongue in cheek thing. They were saying that science is magic that works. But this is deep science and magic all at the same time.
It's all integrated, you know. I mean, what we begin to do, what we're able to achieve through the refinement and cultivation of through our Qigong practice, many medical practitioners and scientists, would say, wow, that's magical, because it doesn't fit within their three-dimensional mode of how things operate. It lies outside, of basically the scientific method, because the scientific method is based on three-dimensional constructs, and what qigong brings to the table far exceeds, that level of limitation.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think it's what you're saying is that this is the place where instead of with our nervous system, we keep having the same patterns, the same neuron patterns flowing and everything. And what I hear you saying is that, and that's why I say we either have a nervous system or we have what I think it should be renamed an awareness system, and because who wants to be nervous? So why, even with the name, why do we call it a nervous system? So with our awareness system, what you're doing through Qigong is you're helping people to expand instead of, if this is the normal firing of the neurons in the same patterns, what you're doing through Qigong, becoming that fourth dimensional being, right, is just opening up to other possibilities.
Because Qigong is everything. It has everything. Because Tao has everything. So it's about, just really exploring and, being the Silver Surfer and navigating that cosmology, that takes you through all galactic space.
Mm. I laugh because that's my favorite guy right there. Did you mention Silver Surfer? Silver Surfer, and Doctor Manhattan. That's my two people. Because I mean, what can really mess with, like, people want to be like the Hulk or saying Superman? I'm like, but if you can change atoms,
right? Exactly.
None of them want to smoke with something that can change atoms. Come on now.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little geek sometimes. All right, so this sounds good, but you know what I know what some people may be thinking, because I mean, it's in science more, it's coming up a lot more. People have a very real sense of it, Wayne. Epigenetics. That people might be like, that sounds good and fine, Wayne, but you know what? I'm dealing with stuff that I know that my ancestors dealt with. You know what I mean? So this gets into the Jing. This gets into another aspect of things, of ancestral chi, and the things that we inherit, the things that, how they kept looking at things the same way, and now that's in our neurology. Can you explain a little bit about how we can work around or work with that?
That's when you get into more of the dynamics of medical Qigong. So when you look at the chakra here, you see this little blue tube there. That is the chakral web. The chakra web has a multitude of various responsibilities. One of them is that it holds consciousness from previous incarnations. And so those patterns of consciousness in various ways create the activity of consciousness in a person's daily in this particular incarnation. So what has to happen is through this form of medical Qigong that I do, I can go directly into the chakra web and can clear those patterns that have collected over previous incarnations, and can not only remove them, but I can put more expansive, constructive patterns in the chakra web that individual will now begin to work with, on their daily.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's pretty powerful. And you said it's the chakra web, but it makes me think of Wayne, like when I think of the fascia, kind of web-like and everything. So I know this is a more etheric form. We're not talking about something that we can
Yeah,
see, but
but it's still as above, so below.
uh,
Yeah, it's still the dynamic and the law of correspondence in play.
okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
What we're seeing in the physical and the 3D, is also in function and operating in the ethereal.
Well, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the law of correspondence or the law of synergy and stuff too, because I feel like, especially in this day and time, something I'm trying to impart with people is more understanding about the quantum nature of things and how, Yahshua, or AKA Jesus, said that, greater things than me shall you do and everything, right? And I am definitely of the opinion that I believe that he took that, I know you've probably heard this theory too, that if he did exist, he studied in ancient Kemet. He went to India. He went to Tibet, you know, and he knew how to work these webs, and he knew that at a deep level that each one of us have the capacity to affect as above, so below, as within, so without, right? This oneness principle that, if this is holographic and you take a piece of someone's hair, the whole is in the part. So what I'm getting at, how important, especially in this time when things are seeming so dark and people trying to Civil War, Third World War III, and throw all this stuff out that I feel like they're trying to get us and people like us, especially we're the swing states, if you will, trying to get us to get in a frequency of fear. So what I'm getting at is like, through Qigong practice, how much do you feel that we can influence how things go?
Yeah, um, concentrated, focused intention can shift everything. Um, the book that was done, Power versus Force, because what he did as a scientific analyst, he was able to show the different frequencies that originate from different emotional fields. So one of the things that he was able to carve out as very impactful was that if you take a collective of individuals who are vibrating on a level of 500, which he equates to unconditional love, that unconditional love vibrates on that level of 500. And if you can get there he shows where once you're in that state, you automatically, because we deal with automatic interconnectedness. You know, we're all connected, all of us. You know, that's why the whole dynamic and concept of the hologram is so powerful, because once you come to that realization that all things are connected, then you have the ability to move into various spaces and alter the direction of what those spaces contain. Now, what he was able to show was that if you operate and retain that frequency of 500 or unconditional love, you can shift the consciousness of 750,000 people. And he showed where 1/10 of 1% of the people focus on one specific intention can completely shift whatever it is, or recreate whatever it is that they are focused upon. So if people are looking at war, battles that are ensuing in different regions of the world, they can, that 1/10 of 1% can focus on that upheaval and create a peaceful outcome through just focusing on that. And that's the power of collective thought.
Wow. Wow. This is another moment, I feel like, for deep breaths as we come toward getting closer towards the end of the interview portion. I'd like for us to, again, breathe in what the brother just said, y'all, the agape, the unconditional love, and being able to have that intention collectively, how we can change things. In other words, this is a quantum world where it's not heads or tails. The coin is spinning. And though it may look like sometimes things are going to go one way or whatever, like, hold your intention that it can go another. You know what I mean? Don't keep being reactionary. Be a masterful. Be a creator. Don't be reactionary. So let's breathe in. And this time we're going to activate our Ren 17 point right here in our chest to open up the breast and chest area for our heart energy. So again, if you want to do it with your eyes open, you can. If you want to close your eyes, I invite you to breathe in and slowly close your eyes if you want to close your eyes. And focusing right in the middle of your breast and chest area on the bone right there, the sternum. Ren 17 is it's the 17th point on the Ren channel. Let's breathe in. Out. It's known as the Sea of Qi. Breathing in. Out. One more in. And out. Now, slowly on your next out breath, allow your eyes to open again. Wow. All right, so as we bring this thing on down to the home stretch here, Wayne, I mean, there's so many places we could go with this based on what you were saying there, but I feel like it's very important in our culture, especially Western culture. There seems to always be this. We see it with the gender again in one of the seven hermetic principles or seven principles of Thoth is gender. And I love how in the Kabbalion they also talk about mental gender, you know. And so because there seems to be a lot of conflict between logic and feeling, or logic and emotion in our current society, that we have to be one or the other. And that does not sound like the Tao to me. But if you could bring it on home for us, how can we be in this world where we have to put on a lot of what we might say the yang or masculine energy and be logical and stuff and everything? How can we also at the same exact time balance and harmonize and bring in the feminine or the yin energy that allows us to be in this space for all possibilities to be birthed? How do you do that, and what is that? How do we practically bring that home?
When we look at this, this is a map of the brain, our brain. So one side is the masculine, the other side is the feminine, one side is the mundane, five sense, three-dimensional construct, the other is the construct which takes us into the portals of the higher realms. So when we look at this in terms of how it's designed, how it's set up, the left hemisphere is time bound, though the masculine hemisphere is time bound, processes information bit by bit. It's linear, looks at detail, compartmentalizes everything. It's deductive, draws a specific conclusion from broad premises, but all the information necessary for the conclusion is contained in the premise. Now, if you go into the right hemisphere, the feminine brain is timeless as opposed to being time bound. It processes information all at once instead of bit by bit. It's simultaneous. It looks at the whole and connects the world into a connected whole. It looks for relationships. It's inductive. It draws a general conclusion from broad premises, but goes beyond all information that's given, which means it's clairvoyant, psychic, and intuitive. The deep thing is both of these dynamics live within us. And it's a matter of us taking the opportunity through intention to activate and balance both of them. The culture we live in, being patriarchal, has cut us off of the attributes of the feminine mind. And so it becomes up to us to reinstate those qualities that the right hemisphere brings to the body. This was what was explained in the Matrix, the red and the blue, the red pill and the blue pill. You know, that was the whole symbolism that Morpheus was communicating to Neo. So the way we are designed is based on gender specifics, everything. The main organs we have in our body are feminine based, they're magnetic. Those are liver, spleen, lung, heart, you know, all of those carry a feminine charge, a magnetic charge. So they attract to us specific things when the proper intention is laid upon them. The meridian that runs through our body is masculine and feminine. So one of the things that a person can do that keeps them in the space of gender balance is tongue connection. Tongue connection is the essence of Qigong. When you connect the tongue to one of the 3 points along the roof of the mouth, you activate this major circuit that runs through the body. And that circuit looks like this. So the front of that circuit and the back part of that circuit has 6 smaller channels that run off of it. So the circuit in the back is the masculine circuit and runs hot. The circuit in the front is the feminine circuit that runs cool. Both circuits have 6 smaller circuits that run off of them and provide specific temperature into the areas of the body that either require hot, cool, cold, warm energy. It also balances the hemispheres of the brain. So when you look at tongue connection, personally, when I'm not eating, sleeping, or talking, my tongue is always connected. Because when my tongue is connected, I'm pulling in energy from the cosmos, and I'm pulling energy in from the earth through the kidney 1 point. So that point becomes very critical in terms of how one explores the frontier of Qigong. Because when you do kidney breathing and kidney packing, you activate the amygdala, which in turn, through the meridians, connects into the pituitary. Once the energy begins to flow from the amygdala into the pituitary begins to release a compound called anandamide. And anandamide is what gives and creates that peaceful, loving feeling that we have in the body-mind. It cleans the cells. It activates our personal DNA. It removes all types of toxic signatures that collect in our cellular design. They refer to it as the bliss hormone. That's what they call anandamide, the bliss hormone. So once through kidney packing, you begin to activate the release of anandamide and pituitrin, that in turn activates the ajna chakra, which is our source for extrasensory perception.
Crown me. Wow. I love it. Sounds like too what you're saying that the what did Yahshua say, that life and death are in the power of the tongue, you know?
Yeah.
He was always dropping those hints, you know. It was about what we speak, but it's also in what you're saying and being able to connect our head, our ori, with our bodies. Keep these two communicating. Is that correct?
That's definitely correct. Yes. That's definitely correct. Yes. That's it. That's the design. So, our when we step in and practice the Qigong, we want to do it all the time with tongue connection. because that is what's going to open the portals, and that's what's going to move us into these transcendent places. Is the tongue energy.
Well, I feel like my last question before we get up and do some Qigong to close things out, dealing with time, to circle back around to the beginning of our conversation when you were talking about the calendar and the 13-month, 28-day, the Coptic and the, Ethiopian and Mayan different calendars and everything. I feel like, especially now more than ever, a lot of people, especially the ones who are, we're doing the best we can in this unconscious machine. I don't like to just say machine, but this unconscious machines, because machines are not inherently bad. But this unconscious machine culture that we live in, Wayne, time has been weaponized, almost to the point where it's like always on us. And you talked about putting both to be able to bring and have a holistic state of being, bringing in the feminine and the masculine. So what I'm getting at here is, I like to say father time, the mother moment, and the mother moment brings us back into the now, the knowing, the word know has now in it. So in closing out, this thing to circle back around to the very first thing you talked about, the calendar and everything. Are there any things that you want to leave us with as far as being able to navigate and be more of a time lord? Because I just want to point out, me and you geeked out in between here a little bit about comic books. For my comic book heads out there, for people even just who know a little bit about popular culture, if you remember Thanos in the Infinity War, the last two stones that he got, y'all, was the Time Stone from Doctor Strange, and then what? From Vision, the Mind Stone. So at the end of the day, the Mind Stone even was over time. So in closing this out for today, Wayne, what would you say for us about being able to be a more timeless being, using our Qigong to navigate all of that?
Yeah, I would say move through the world with tongue connection and play with your levels of intention to see exactly now with your tongue connected how your reality shifts and changes. Because then you begin to like really experience your power in a totally different way. Once you connect all of those channels in your body, right now they're just moving in accord of, the three-dimensional design. But when you collectively, through intention and tongue connection, bring them all together, then they work in unison. They work as an orchestra within the body, and moving in that type of fluidity, it gives you a type, in a sense, of power for manifesting and manifesting, like different aspects of an intentional reality that you want to have for yourself. And that's it. It don't get no more better. I mean, that for me, that's always been one of the beauties of qigong is how I use tongue connection to create various realities.
Mm. Mm. I love it. Okay. Well, y'all. So what we're going to do here from now to close things out is we're going to shift to the qigong to close us out. Wayne, if you're cool with it, just show us maybe one thing. What we'll do is maybe one move or whatever, and qigong practice, and we'll close things out. So y'all go ahead and get into a space where you can stand up and move around a little bit, and we'll be right back. What we want to do to close out, and what we want to do here to close out things is to embody wisdom that Wayne was imparting with us today. uh, talking about the quantum and Qigong working, being it works when it flows, and timelessness connecting the body and the mind together with the tongue. Uh, if you go back and you listen to these things and then actually breathe, give birth to, notice how the word birth and breath are very similar. So give birth to, give breath to a new reality. So Wayne, definitely would love to be honored for you to bring us on home today with whatever you feel on your heart to share with us now.
Sure. Feet hip width apart. We're going to do two practices. One is more solar oriented, and the other one is more lunar oriented. The solar practice is going to move this way when the body goes back. The actual move is here. So you actually stick out, then come here. There's a drop, bend in the knee, elevate, that's the move from the side. Now from the front, what you're doing, as you go back, you connect the tongue. When you come forward, the tongue drops and you express the tone or the word shu. S-H-U. And shu represents that energy that's primordial that moves through the entire cosmos, that brings unity, balance, and allows the diffusion of energy to move into all life. So Shu, representative of, even in Kemet, the god, god is Shu. So the tongue connects, going back, you release, shoo, 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 shoo. Now, the lunar aspect of that is working with the organ sounds in the body. So the lunar aspect is literally taking the thumb, forefinger, connecting them so that you have that flow of energy that's now moving through the meridians. And every organ in the body has a sound. So say we work with the lung sound and then the heart sound, since we talked about heart energy today. So the lung sound has two sounds. The one that I like to use in general is zzz. The other sound that the lung has is like a serpent, a snake, and that's just. So what we're going to do, moving very slowly, we're going to come, same motion, Connect the tongue. Release the tongue. Emit the sound. Elevate, rise, arms go back, connect the tongue, head goes back, body comes forward, emitting the sound. Body sinks. The next sound is that of the heart, which is the ha sound. So with that, same motion, tongue goes back, connects, come forward with the ha sound, which is elevate, expand, tongue goes back, come forward, the ha sound. Body drops, knees bend. Inhale, come back up, tongue connects, come forward, the ha sound. Contract the body, bend in the knees, drop. One more time, inhale, moving slow, deliberate. Connect the tongue, release the tongue. Come with the ha sound for the heart. Drop the arms, come back, and release.
Okay, sure. Probably weren't in your left brain counting, but if you think about it, you definitely didn't do 20 breaths probably together. And look at how powerful that is if you feel it in your body right now. Less than 20 breaths, how you can regulate and change things in yourself.
Yeah, you want to do increments. You want to start with 9 reps, go from 9 to 18, and then from 18 to 27, which is a full set.
Thank you, Wayne. Yeah, thank you. Well, that is our time for today. So what I want to leave the brother Wayne with is definitely if you can let us know what else you have going on. So I imagine even if they work their way up from the 9, the 18 to the 27 steps, you have a lot more. Having done Qigong as long as you have a lot more that you can.
A few moments later.
Sorry about that.
There we go.
We blacked them out. Blacked them out, Wayne. Too much energy up in this motherfucker. Oh wow. All right. So what I was saying, y'all, is we're gonna close on out now. Wayne, I'd love for you to tell them. I know we do the sets of 9, 18, and 27, but I know you have a lot more to impart to people. So what else do you have going on, my brother? You have the book Ancient Future for us to grab. If you don't have that, I recommend y'all get that. And what else do you have going on, Wayne?
Yeah, they can go to my website, which is WayneBChandler.com, and see a lot of what's happening there, what I'm doing. I've got a lecture coming up November the 3rd, I believe it is, in Detroit. And then I have my retreat in December, which will be in Costa Rica.
Mm.
And people can get more information from that by just going to my website, Wayne B, as in Bravo, Chandler.com.
Costa Rica and Qigong. Come on now.
Yeah, it's a Qigong retreat.
Whew. Okay, y'all. So not only will you be able to do Qigong, but you'll be doing it in Costa Rica. Not only will you be in Costa Rica, you'll be doing Qigong. Sounds like a good combo to me.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you again so much, man. Like, I can't say enough. For even today, you coming through and always, making time to be available when I did reach out, and also just, you've been consistent, man, as far as like helping out human consciousness and human consciousness, and we definitely need this on the planet. So definitely honor to you, bro.
Respect, my brother. I appreciate you having me on, and it was a fantastic share.
Shay. All right, y'all. And for y'all out there through time and space, again, remember with deep breaths, remember to feel your heart. Speak your truth. Your breath to something new. One.
Okay.